Good morning. How are you doing? Have you ever wondered what on earth Grey's Anatomy has to do with connecting with your customers and getting loyal customers for life? Well, hey, I'm Reese Spikerman. You are, in fact, inside the Commerce Collab Facebook group. And before I break down and reveal what Grey's Anatomy can teach us about customers, I want to give you a little bit Thanksgiving turkey update. First, I need to know if you celebrated Thanksgiving, how did it go for you? Some of you let me know that you were managing the whole thing for yourself for the first time this year. So on my end, I was going to do this spatchcocked turkey where you cut out the backbone and then you lay it flat and cook it. Well, the day before Thanksgiving, we found out that you need really big poultry scissors in order to cut that backbone out. And we didn't have any, and none of the stores in my smallish town had any. So I had to call up mom and say, can you handle the turkey for me? Because I don't know what I'm doing. So mom took care of the turkey. I took care of the sweet potato casserole. She asked me to exchange. She'd deal with the turkey. I'd do that. It was the first time I did the casserole and it was a hit. So I'm pretty happy. Everything still went down okay. There just was no spatchcocked turkey. And I have to tell you, I'm a little bummed because I was really looking forward to trying this new thing, experimenting with the bird. No. All right. So I have been watching Grey's Anatomy since forever, like half of my life almost. And I got to tell you, I think the first 5 years of this show are the finest. And I need you to drop a comment if you agree with me on that. It does not get much better than vintage Greys. And I don't think you want to even get me started on how they did Alex Karev dirty last season. I'm not going to spoil it for you if you don't watch, but man, I got to tell you, I'm feeling really salty about that. And I still watch this show at this point, I think because of sunk costs, because I've invested like nearly half my life in the show. I just keep going, but I don't think that the later seasons are nearly as on fire as the first 5. And the reason I love the first 5 seasons so much, I mean, there's several reasons, but one of the biggest ones is the friendship between Meredith and Christina. And I started thinking about their friendship and I realized it's such an amazing metaphor for the customer journey. And the customer journey is one of those things that I think is a super boring term. Like, it's important for us to know about it for our businesses, but it doesn't spark much interest. So I thought, well, what if I take Meredith and Christina's friendship and use it to help explain to you the 5 stages of the customer journey and give you a little tip on what you can do to connect with your customer in each stage. So before I get into the 5 stages and the stories about Meredith and Christina, I'll just go see quick who's joining me live. Sometimes Facebook does not tell me these things. I tell you guys this every week. The 5 stages of the customer journey are awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, and advocacy. So stay with me here. We're going to walk down memory lane and revisit some of my favorite times from Grey's Anatomy and Meredith and Christina's friendship and what they mean with the customer journey. Okay, I see I got Sabrina here. Yeah, Alex's situation, not okay at all. No, I'm really grumpy about it, in case you couldn't tell. Hey, Brenna, you're always joining me for the lives. I love you. Turkey in an oven bag here went great for our first time doing the whole meal on our own. Awesome job, Sabrina. You did better with the turkey than I did, clearly. Okay, back to these customers and their stages. Awareness, the first stage of the customer journey. So Christina knew who Mare was because basically of Meredith's mom. Mare came in to the show having that cachet, and anytime you have some cachet, it helps. But Mare became aware of Christina because of how she showed up and showed herself. So in this beginning time with our customer journey, they're just learning about us. Like, it's their first time being exposed to our business, our brand, our products. So if we think about what I just explained about Grey's Anatomy, a couple takeaways for you are that things like cachet, right? Like who you're associated with, or your media exposure, or your partnerships with other brands can help make people more aware of you. But as we learned with Christina and how she showed up, whether you're willing to put yourself out there and be bold and strategic like Christina can also drive awareness. And don't be afraid to have a personality in your branding, right? Christina has a very strong personality. It made her stand out. It showed to Meredith like she's worth considering. So this will go a long way to help you stand out if you don't have the cachet of Meredith Grey in your brand. So the second stage of the customer journey is consideration. And let's think about that through the lens of Meredith and Christina. So early on, Christina is measuring Meredith up. It's kind of like, is Meredith just this pretty girl with the famous surgeon mom, and she's just riding that all the way through, and that's how she got there, and she has no chops? Or does she actually have some skills, right? You can see at the beginning, in the first few episodes, Christina's kind of skeptical. But then there's this grudging respect that grows from Mare's abilities. Christina's considering whether she wants to be in a relationship, like a friendship with Mare. And Mare is considering Christina because Mare is coming into this with so many people who have let her down in her life, namely her parents. So she's wondering and considering, is Christina going to be flighty like them? Is she trustworthy? Is this a woman that I can trust? They're both considering each other. They're doing research. They're doing assessments, right? So in the consideration phase, your customers are doing this too. After they're aware of you, they might research more. And one thing you should know about these stages is sometimes this happens super fast. It's possible like awareness and consideration are happening within a 10-minute time period. It kind of depends on everything from your pricing to what people's moods are on that day. But when your customers are considering you, they might research or they might become aware of you. And because we live in such a distracted world, they will forget about you. It happens. It's nothing against you. So you want to help remind them of your products. And some of the ways that you can do that in this customer stage is by having enough information on your website and in your social media so that there's something for them to actually research. It really depends on your brand and your products, but it could be anything from blog articles or enough photos of your products. There's another thing you can do to help in the consideration phase, and it's a good gun, it's a big gun, and it's Facebook retargeting ads. This is one of the best ways I know to remind people who've had an interaction with your brand. They've clicked on your they've gone to your website, or they've engaged with your Facebook page or on your Instagram profile. You send them a retargeting ad, and what it helps do is, because we live in such a noisy, busy world, it reminds them about you, right? They became aware of you. It helps remind them about you. So then they can come back and consider you and your products again. All right, so that was the second phase, consideration. The third phase of the customer journey is the purchase. And this is the one I think most business owners fixate on. It's an important one, but remember, there's 2 stages after purchase. We're going to have 5 in total. So don't fix only on purchase. Let's talk about what purchase is like in the Grey's Anatomy universe. I think in terms of the friendship between Mare and Christina, I really think the key moment like that is kind of like the purchase is when Christina asks Mare to be her emergency medical contact. And she says to Mare that you're my person. It's a big moment in Grey's, right? And I remember reading this and thinking, watching the show and thinking, what a great line. That's exceptional writing right there. Let me know if you agree. So this moves their friendship even closer. It's like a purchase. There's a lot of trust involved when a customer makes a purchase. And this moment in their friendship shows how much trust had developed between Christina and Mare, that Christina made Mare her medical contact and called her her person. So in your business, when someone has made the decision to purchase, right? They've decided that you're the equivalent of their person from a product point of view. You want to help solidify that trust in them, in you. You want to help them to know yeah, I made a really good decision. So some of the ways that you can do this are an immediate email and information on what they can expect next. Like, we're getting your products ready and we will email you again when they're shipping out. Then send them emails with updates on shipping and tracking. Send them a sincere thank you for their business. They just spent money with you. If you are new in business and you aren't like doing a ton of volume, one of the things that you can do to help in the purchase phase is send a short personalized video. So it looks like, hey, Brenna, I just noticed that you grabbed one of our luxury bath bombs. And I just want to say what an excellent choice you made and how much I appreciate your business. And my name is Reese. I'm the CEO of Luxury Bath Bombs Incorporated. And I would love to answer any questions you might have. Like, you could make a short video like this. And then if you later on are pushing more volume, which is amazing, you can make a more generic video that just says, hey, thanks so much for your purchase. And it's similar, but it's not as personalized, and send them out to all your new customers. And you can use a service like BombBomb to help you with this. You don't have to use BombBomb, but it's one that comes to mind off the top of my head. So that was the purchase phase. And what you can do once people have purchased to make them feel better about the choice they just made, right? And to help them understand and like meet their expectations about what happens next. So when people purchase, we want to ultimately have them purchasing again, right? A customer that makes more than one purchase is so much more valuable than a one-off purchase. And so many times businesses will focus on acquisition, getting new customers. And I've got a Facebook Live rant coming up about this on another day. Not for today, though. And they'll do it to the detriment of retaining their existing customers. These are the people, your existing customers, who are already halfway or more in the customer journey. It's so much easier to keep them and to like honor them and the choice they made than to try and get a new customer. So we want to retain them. And that's the fourth stage of the customer journey, retention. In the Grey's universe, here's the moment that I think was retention. So Christina was going to get married, and she says to Meredith, hey, will you be my bridesmaid? And Meredith kind of side eyes her because neither one of these ladies want to deal with weddings or bridesmaids. It's just not who they are, which is part of why I love them. So Christina gets left at the altar, and Mare really takes care of her. She hugs her, like she squeezes her. Christina's having a breakdown. And even though Mare hated bridesmaid dresses and the whole wedding thing, she stepped up and was there for Christina in the most difficult and challenging time in her life. And this just further solidified their friendship, right? It took it one step deeper. So when you think about your customers, you can improve retention by sending targeted emails with specials that are unique to your customer. So you can segment your customers, and you might give them content that fits their needs. You want to honor and respect them, and you can even surprise them with free gifts once in a while, depending on if your business model can support this and how much they've spent with you already. Or you could even call them to check up on their order and say, hey, you ordered this lipstick. How's it going for you? I just wanted to check in and make sure that you're satisfied with this order, right? So that was retention. We've got the last one, the last phase of the customer journey. It's a big one, and it's really hard for most businesses and brands to get here. But when you do, you are golden. Let me tell you, and it's a journey. This part of the journey is one of those where I think that if you're in business and you only have been in a year or two, it's really challenging for your business to get to this, like have your customers at this last part. But over time, you can get there. And the last stage is what we call advocacy. And this is where people are being your brand ambassadors. They're being ambassadors for your products. They are sharing it with friends. They are singing its praises to the moon. They are referring you to other people, right? So in the Grey's universe and in Mare and Christina's friendship, I think the moment of advocacy is much later. It's like in the last season or so. Meredith was up in the medical boards. Her license was potentially going to get pulled from her. And Christina at this point is no longer on the show, which is very sad, but she makes an appearance via the form of a letter. And they write a letter, or Christina writes a letter and basically advocates for Meredith, like why she's an amazing doctor, why it's the only doctor whose hand she would have in her body if she needed surgery. So part of how you get an advocate like Christina in your brand is really having strong, consistent customer service. And even more critically, you want a brand story that people align with. Because when people are aligned with your brand story, they advocate for you because it's ingrained in how they see themselves. It's a fundamental part of their identity system. So if you are someone who bought the Commerce Collab upgrade kit, you want to go listen again to the episode or the interview with me and Bernadette Jiwa. And we talked about Huat Denim. I can never say their name right. And Bernadette's a master storyteller, and she breaks down how this denim company created a brand story that people got so aligned with, and then they had advocacy, right? So those were the 5 stages of the customer journey. I'm going to read them to you again. Awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, and advocacy. And you got a tip for each part of them. And let me go back to my notes here. What have I got? And you saw them all through the lens of Grey's Anatomy. So hopefully it kind of made sense, like each stage for you. And by the way, Christina and I, and part of why I love her so much is we share the same Myers-Briggs personality type, an INTJ. And I believe I had read that it's one of the rarest type in women. And I know it doesn't seem like this. I can be very bubbly when I show up for you on the Facebook Lives, but I'm good at doing that when I need to for the Facebook Lives. But in general, I really resonate with how Christina shows up in the world. And part of why I love those early years of Grey's is it was the first time I watched a TV show and I saw a female character who was so like me. Before I sign off, I would love for you to tell me 1 to 2 marketing strategies you can put into action to reflect and help deepen the connection with your customer and help them in their journey. What can you do this week or this month that's related to what we talked about today? Just drop it in the comments. Tell me 1 or 2 things you're going to go try to put to work in your business. Let me know if you have any questions that come up. I'll check back over the next 24 hours or so and try to answer them for you. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you again on Facebook Live next week. Bye.